So Daryl Morey seems to be working his magic already in the buyout market. Apparently, help will be on the way to Philadelphia very soon. Also, we discuss some rumors floating around regarding the James Harden opt-out situation. And lastly, we talk about why this Sixers team is ready to go all in this year. We got it all coming up. Let's go.
Perfect.
What is going on, everybody? RB here. Welcome back on into the show. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Don't miss any of this content. Your number one hotspot for Sixers coverage 24/7. Today, we are back. A lot of rumors, a lot of news floating around. It's never a dull day in Philadelphia sports, and I can't wait to get into it all. We start off the day with a quote from one of our leaders, man, George Niang. Talking about the Sixers' first practice with James Harden, says it's a breath of fresh air to know who your team is moving forward. There's new life in the team. James brought a light and an energy. I can't wait to see what happens, man. We obviously have a game tonight against the Milwaukee Bucks on primetime, and then we have 8 days off, and then we get our new look Sixers with James Harden. I can't wait. It's going to be so freaking exciting. We'll be covering it all, man. I guess we'll start off with the whole James Harden thing. We'll get that out of the way. So apparently a couple days ago, there was a rumor floating around. I'd listened to the podcast clip. It was from NBA insider Zach Lowe, and he was talking about the Harden situation. Now, let's clear it up for 1 second. We had originally thought that James Harden had opted into his contract for next year. That was what was reported during the trade. We didn't know anything else. And then it came out the following day from Kyle Neubeck of Philly Voice that actually, no, he didn't. He did not get it done in time. They asked him about it. They said he didn't file the paperwork and all. But at the opening press conference a couple days ago, when drilled by John Clark, James Harden said, I am going to opt in. I will be opting in next year. I just wanted to take my time with it and kind of do it my way and not have it, all rushed in the moment as I was being shipped to Philadelphia. And rumors started to speculate about that. And here's pretty much a summation of what Zach Lowe had said in his podcast. Apparently, there is a conspiracy theory out there that Harden could decline the option and then sign for less money to allow the Sixers to have more flexibility, where Tobias Harris would then be traded and we could bring in a third star and make a big three with James Harden, Joel Embiid, and another star. Now, you can drop your thoughts about that down below. All I'll quickly say is that I want to see how it works right now. Like I've mentioned, I think Tobias Harris is going to benefit from this trade. Now, again, if it doesn't work out this year, the Sixers don't achieve their goals, I'm willing to do anything. I'm open to whatever, and I know Daryl Morey, based off of his track record and what he's done, will get something done. He will continually improve this roster, and I mean, you can't really count anything out at this point, can you? So who knows? Maybe it's something to look at down the line. It would be interesting. Getting a big three, maybe another star player, or kind of like, not a star player, but a guy who can be a star on given nights that could kind of align their game to James Harden and Joel Embiid, maybe like a sharpshooter, 3-and-D guy. It would be interesting. But anyway, that takes us to where we need to go next, and that is the Sixers. We'll start off with this. The Sixers are going to go all in this year. We've thought that ourselves. I've said this is the year you cannot waste Joel Embiid. He's in his prime. He's looked even better than last year. And obviously, as evidence at the trade deadline, Daryl Morey came out here and said, you know what, we got to go get an impact player. And luckily, it just worked out perfectly that he gets his guy, James Harden. And now we got that going for us. And instantly, boom, we are in championship contention now. And really, I guess the window, as you want to call it, starts now. But anyway, if you need more confirmation, Daryl Morey was on the Colin Cowherd Podcast. I mean, everybody's rolling out with a podcast now, and Daryl Morey's just hopping on around and dropping these little bomb insight shells. It's like you just got to go listen to it. But it was a great podcast, by the way, by Colin. Really appreciated listening to it. But here is a clip about Daryl Morey talking about the hopes of the Sixers and how he views kind of this window of contention.
Look, the most important year is this year. We're in this phase where I've never seen the NBA so wide open. I don't know what you think, Colin. It's like basically Phoenix, Golden State, Brooklyn, us, Milwaukee if you look in Vegas right now, pretty much all of us have about the same odds, and they're all about 1-6. So it's wide open. You don't see a Golden State, which we kept banging against that wall. Our Houston teams. And prior to that, there was a Miami that everyone had to bang their head against. There's not a team like that that's sitting at 40, 50% title odds, which can happen in basketball. It's really rare. So it's wide open. This year's the most important.
So, I mean, he said it right there. Obviously Daryl is an analytics type of guy, but he referenced his team in Houston. He said, looking at the odds, it is wide open this year. We have a chance. We have a shot, and Daryl is going to do everything in his power to make sure we have a chance to succeed. And he said it right there. This is the year. I'm not thinking about next year, the year after. Sure, we're going to contend, right? Sure, we may have created a window for the next couple of years, but Daryl's ready to go in this year. I'm telling you, him, James, Joel, they are hungry for a chip, man. And I don't think people realize it or will realize it until they see this product on the floor. But, we got as good of a shot as anybody else, and I can't wait to see what happens. But going further, we know that really this team still needs a little more supplementary help, and that takes us to the buyout market. Now, obviously, I had said I was going to do a piece about this. I was actually saving it for a couple days because we're going to be dry with content for about a week with nothing going on. Sure, we'll do things, but I really wanted to get into it more. Anyway, Daryl Morey went and crushed my dreams yesterday. He was on the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast with Spike Eskin and Michael Levin, and he did an interview there, and he started talking about the buyout market. We've heard Doc say we're going to address our needs. Daryl said it himself. But really, this was I couldn't believe he actually got this much in depth. But like I said, even on that radio interview a couple weeks ago before the deadline, he's like a fan. He just talks, and he knows what we feel. He knows what we like. But anyway, let's listen to what he said about the upcoming buyout market and who we're looking at.
So I get what you're saying. This is pretty much the team. We're probably going to have one buyout. I think we're pretty close. I'm actually annoyed we haven't been able to announce it yet.
Oh, interesting.
Buyout imminent.
So Daryl Morey literally just said, we have pretty much agreed to a contract with one of the buyout free agents already, right? We saw Tristan Thompson get signed yesterday after being waived by the Chicago Bulls. He got signed by the Chicago Bulls, waived by the Pacers. But Daryl Morey pretty much said, we have already signed somebody. Now, he did say that might be our only signing, so don't get your hopes up. I know people think we're going to get 3-4 players. That usually doesn't happen. Usually it's 1, maybe 2. But who knows? Daryl's going to continue scanning the playing field. But you give me your guess or your best guess as to what it could be. Honestly, I would tend to believe it's a backup center. Listening to more of this podcast, which I recommend that you do, he just talked about the need for some backups. Now, he did talk about Paul Millsap and said he might get some run in the rotation. Who knows about that? But what I would lean towards is it's going to be a backup center because, as much as I love Paul Reed and his intensity and he's a hound on the glass, you can't play him in the playoffs, right? I'll forever be scarred from the 2-minute -11 Greg Monroe stat line. It just can't happen. Bassey's not ready yet. You got to get a backup 5 for this team. Someone who could probably replicate the skill set similarly to Andre Drummond and what he could do. Just take some of that burden off for a few minutes in a playoff series. I think that's the route we go. Hopefully we could also get some, guard player upgrade at shooting. I still think we could benefit from another sharpshooter, but if some of our guys step up and Shake Milton gets healthy, who knows what could happen in that aspect. Other than that, though, I just want to say, Daryl Morey, again, is always 5 steps ahead. I bet he already knew who he was going to sign before the trade deadline, before he made the big trade. We just got to put our trust and faith up in this guy. He's obviously hearing what we want, and he knows what this team needs, and he's going to make the moves happen. And for now, I'm more relaxed than ever. Put our trust in Morey and see what happens. Been preaching that the entire time. I just wanted to end off here today with another clip from that Colin Cowherd interview on his podcast with Daryl Morey, just about a funny story of what happened at the trade deadline, the days leading up, and I want to make a point about it, but let's listen to the clip.
We're debating whether we give up 2 first-round picks, and I'll rewind a couple of days, and I was talking to a Western Conference team who we liked a player on their team. We offered 1 first for that player. They said no. And I got a little bothered with the GM. I'm like, this guy's never going to give this player up. But I'm just going to offer 2 first to see Just see what happens. And very quickly he's like, no to 2 first. This is a player, by the way, that every 2K player, Colin Cowherd, Nick Wright, every human on earth would have said, oh my God, you have to give that player up for 2 first. So I just did it just to see. And he said no immediately. So fast forward to the final day, we're debating 2 first, and one of our great front office people were like 3 days ago, we couldn't even get this player for 2 first. Why are we debating this? Why are we even talking about this? We can get James Harden. He's a Hall of Fame player.
Dude, it's so funny, man. Shout out to the crew that said Daryl Morey sat on his hands the entire time, didn't do anything. I told you, man, he was working relentlessly. And it's just funny. He sounds like a 2K GM. Like, let me just try this just for the heck of it. And, he was getting pissed off and he wanted something to happen. Luckily, Harden fell into our lap with that situation and Morey made it happen. But just all of this, the buyout comments, everything in general, I hope you have all seen that we can trust our top-level executive, Daryl Morey, to get things done. Even if it doesn't work this year, going into the future, I'm happy with where this organization is at. I think we're finally about to take that leap, and I'm ready to go on the ride, go on the journey. So I can't wait to see what happens. Let me know all your thoughts down below. What do you think this team needs to do? Give me all your thoughts. Appreciate you for tuning in. Like always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go get a W tonight. I will catch you on the next one, man. Peace.
Perfect.